Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be doing my December Oscar predictions. Now, I lied a little bit in my December release schedule for my videos, or maybe not lied, but I'm like, because at the time that was true, but now I kind of feel like I want to spread the love a bit. So, right now we're going to be tackling the above-the-line categories, and then after Christmas, I will be talking about the below-the-line categories, because it's going to get really down to the wire, and I figured, you know what, yeah, let's just do some predictions here to catch up with what's been going on with the Regional Critics nominations, and the Golden Globes nominations, the Critics' Choice nominations, and even the shortlists from the Oscars. Now, before I go on, I do want to let you guys know that memberships are open. They're $1.99, and we've crossed 11 members. Like, my God, guys, thank you so much for becoming members. And in case you don't know, members get exclusive badges, emojis, and also a bunch of other content, including me keeping track of the regional critics groups, as well as topic videos that I don't think would make for a full-on video, but I just want to talk about them anyway. And I'm going to start doing live Q&As every week, so become a member. It really means a lot, and thank you to those who already have become members. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Let's get to the predictions, shall we? Now, I know what you're thinking. Sing Sing at number 1, still. Are you out of your mind? Maybe. Maybe I'm out of my mind, because I know it's not safe. But the thing is, I needed to see how well it would do in the shortlists. Now, you might be asking, Christian, it got score and song. Why does that matter? And why does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? Well, here's the thing. For score, Sing Sing got in, and yeah, it's a list of 20, but the fact that it was a list of 20 and it still got in over The Substance and Nickel Boys, two films that most people would say are stronger than Sing Sing, and yet it got in. Oh, what's going on here? Alright, yeah, just a Twitch notification. But still, that's kind of big. That it was able to take down a couple of big contenders for score, or at the very least, like, Best Picture nominees, because lately the Academy has really been favoring Best Picture nominated films in score. You know, for example, like, there's really no reason why American Fiction should have gotten into score over Spider-Verse, but because it is in Best Picture, it's probably higher on a lot of people's priority lists where they get those screeners, so, yeah. But the fact that Sing Sing still got in, that's pretty big. And the fact that it's one of only 5 films in Best Picture, at least in the Best Picture conversation, contending for score, and one of those films is Wicked, and that's not going to get nominated, because, like, it's mostly not original music. I think Sing Sing could actually get a nomination there. And it could definitely get a nomination for song because of a couple reasons. Because in the song shortlist, it actually did beat out that Miley Cyrus song from The Last Showgirl. Like, the fact that it actually beat that film, again, is pretty big. Because it got nominated at the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice Awards. So I feel like something's happening. And not only that, but also the Better Man song has been disqualified. So there's an open slot in there. And when you watch Sing Sing, you know, when people watch Sing Sing, they're going to want to nominate these two things. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I think getting the nomination is going to be a harder struggle for Sing Sing than to get the win for Best Picture. Like, getting the nomination is going to be pretty hard. But as long as people see it, they're going to nominate it. And it's not like it hasn't been doing pretty well at the critics groups. I'm also going to be looking at, you know, for, the runner-up is, and the next Best Picture, you know, precursor wins trackers. And so far, like, in the Best Picture race, Sing Sing's doing pretty good. Okay, it's at number 11, but at the same time, I'm looking at what's going on, and it's like, actually, wait, no. It's at, I'm not exactly sure why Sing Sing is at number 11 on And the Runner-Up Is, because it has way more nominations than A Complete Unknown and A Real Pain. And it looks like it might even have more nominations than Dune Part 2. So that's interesting. Let me look at the next Best Picture right now, because Oh, wow. Okay, Sing Sing's doing a lot better with precursor wins, because it actually ties with Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and The Substance for the number 4 slot for the most wins. So, it's not like... So, people are watching Sing Sing, and again, it's only going to get more people watching it, because, again, you look at January coming up with the awards push that's getting, they're going to re-release it. And granted, yeah, that is true. Most awardsy films do re-release, but it's like, I don't know. The fact that it beat some very key films in the in the song and score shortlists, I feel like means a lot. And if it's gonna get score and song, it could get like Clarence Macklin in there. It could get adapted screenplay. It could get Best Picture, and like that's a pretty good haul to have. Again, Sing Sing is just a film where when people see it, they will vote for it. Like, they will want to vote for it. It's going to be irresistible to them. And is Sing Sing not going to do well on a preferential ballot? I would suggest so. So, yeah, and again, I recognize this is not the safe bet. It's not safe. And that getting the nomination might be harder than getting the win. But I do believe in it. I believe in this film. So, yeah. Anyways, with what's number 2? It could honestly be a number of films. It could be The Brutalist. It could be Emilia Perez. It could be Anora. Now, Anora is winning the most critics groups right now, but especially having seen it, I genuinely don't think it would do that well on a preferential ballot. Now, granted, I don't like Anora at all, so I don't know if it's just my bias speaking, but I'm just like, it is a very, like, cold film by the end of it. So it's like, I don't know. It's not like Oppenheimer where it ends on a cold note, but like you feel thrilled after watching it. I feel like this might just be a film that the critics like, that probably the industry doesn't go as hard on. And whereas plus with The Brutalist, I could see it winning more of like the industry awards, or I don't know about the industry awards, but it's like I could see this being like Power of the Dog and Roma, and because I especially with the nomination package it can get, it's going to get nominated for a lot of Oscars. Whereas Anora, its nomination ceiling isn't great. Granted, like hell, it's not even going to get like, at least Sing Sing can get score and song. Anora can't really do that. Anora, like, so yeah, it really is tough. I have Emilia Perez over Anora because I think honestly it might beat Anora for Best Picture, musical, or comedy at the Golden Globes. It has the most nominations by far, and the international people love this film. They love it. Oh my god. And it might end up getting the most Oscar nominations out of any other film this year. It's kind of crazy. So, like, I'm kind of looking out for Emilia Perez. Conclave, I just don't buy this winning. I think it's a definite number 5. But, however, Conclave is difficult because I don't really see any acting wins for it. Like, at least for Anora, you could make an argument for Mikey Madison. For Emilia Perez, you can make an argument for Zoe Saldana. For The Brutalist, you can make an argument for Adrian Brody or Guy Pearce. And for, Sing Sing, you could make an argument for both Coleman Domingo and Clarence Macklin. You can't really make an argument for anyone with Conclave, so you would have to be going off the idea that this is like a spotlight where it wins Best Picture off of screenplay alone and maybe editing, but it's a very strange kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very strange package. Yeah, it's a very strange Best Picture package to get. So I don't quite buy that right now. And then we get to the bottom 5, all right? We get to The Substance, which, like, if you notice in my previous video, I didn't have it in my top 10, but the moment it performed very well at the Golden Globes. Oh, it shot right up. It's like, oh my god. Hell, like, I'll get into some of its win potential a little bit later, but yeah, The Substance is solidly in. Like, wow. The fact that it didn't just do pretty well at the Golden Globes, no, it did extraordinarily well. Picture, director, screenplay, actress, supporting actress. It literally could not have done any better other than maybe score. But the fact that it's not even shortlisted at the Oscars, still, it performed extraordinarily well at the Golden Globes. And at the Critics' Choice Awards, above the line, it performed about exactly the same. Although it's a little bit more impressive with the Golden Globes because Coralie Farge got nominated for Best Director at Critics' Choice, but there were 8 slots, so I don't know who was on the outskirts of maybe getting snubbed. But the fact that she made it into the top 6 of the Golden Globes, that's big. That's really big. So I do think that's a big thing. The Substance has just become a film that I really did not think the Oscars would touch. I loved The Substance. The Substance I thought was fantastic, but I was like, there's no way the Oscars go for this. They're not cool enough to nominate a body horror movie like this in Best Picture. But voters, or at least with the critics, the Critics' Choice Awards and the Golden Globes, they went ham over fist for this film. It's done extraordinarily well. Why do I have Wicked at number 7? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, it could win Best Picture. Here's my problem, though. I cannot predict a movie to win Best Picture without director or screenplay. Now, yes, I know Chicago did that, but also Chicago is a different kind of musical adaptation than Wicked. Chicago was for one, it got director and screenplay nominations. And hell, Rob Marshall won the Directors Guild Award, so that helps. But at the same time, with the screenplay thing for Chicago, that film was very different. Because, it had this very unique style of having the real world and the musical world, and it would go back and forth, and that is part of the screenplay. I feel like people need to realize this. Screenplay is not just about the dialogue, it's also about how the story is told, and that goes into the screenplay first, and because you have to read it, and you have to kind of imagine what's going on. You can definitely imagine what's going on when reading the screenplay for Chicago. Wicked, it is more or less straightforward with what the musical was doing, at least from what I've heard from friends who have seen Wicked. The one thing it does is that because it is the first half of the Wicked Broadway musical, because it is the first half, it does expand on these scenes a bit to, letting things breathe a bit more. But still, I don't know if that's enough because, again, you look at Chicago, it was radically different from the show entirely. At least, again, same basic story, but its presentation in how the story was told was this unique thing that no one had ever done before. Wicked, again, is a lot more straightforward, so I don't think it's going to get nominated for adapted screenplay. And it's definitely not going to get nominated for director because it's this big CGI production and stuff. And granted, I think I would nominate John M. Chu for director, probably. So it's not about any kind of bias here, but knowing the director's branch, they don't like big spectacle films in Best Director. They didn't like it with Barbie, they didn't like it with Avatar: The Way of Water, they didn't like it with All Quiet on the Western Front, they didn't like it with Dune, they didn't like it with Inception, The Martian. The Academy just, or at least the director's branch of the Academy has just slowly not been nominating these big spectacle films for director. Now, again, some people will probably say Oppenheimer, but that is still a straightforward biopic. It is still a biopic, and not only that, yeah, it was like a big blockbuster, but it wasn't even supposed to be a blockbuster. It was an accidental blockbuster. And you could still see the auteur vision of Christopher Nolan and how he keeps things kind of grounded and all that. Whereas The Wicked is still I still think that only John M. Chu could make Wicked like this, but because it is this big spectacle and it has a bunch of CGI, that's something the director's branch hasn't really liked in recent years. So I just cannot imagine Wicked winning Best Picture without screenplay or director nominations, let alone wins. So I just cannot do that. Even if it were to win SAG or something, or even like PGA would be interesting, but I still wouldn't buy it. I still would not buy that happening. Dune, I think it'll be fine, although it is doing worse than the first film, because, good God, Denis Villeneuve didn't even get nominated at the Golden Globes. He did not even get a Globes nomination for director. And the movie is already going to get less nominations than the first Dune, because it's not going to get that score nomination. Now, granted, that's a little bit of an iffy thing, but still, it's like, it might miss a cinematography, because honestly, I can see a world where Dune Part 2 is like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, where they showered the first film in a bunch of awards, but then the second one comes out, even if it's better, they go, we don't care about it. We've already seen this before, which is weird, because like Dune Part 2 has so many Oscar nomination and win-worthy aspects of it, but I guess it's just lost on them. I don't understand. And then we have Nickel Boys. I think it's solidly in now. I think it's very solidly in. It made the Golden Globes, and it made the Critics' Choice Awards. Hell, it got into the Golden Globes with Best Picture Drama being its only nomination. Like, again, it's not going to do that badly at the Oscars, but if Nickel Boys can do that poorly at the Golden Globes and still get a picture nomination, it's got to be in. Honestly, it should be above Dune and Wicked, if I'm going to be completely honest. Actually, yeah, last minute decision. I think the Nickel Boys would be more likely to win Best Picture than Wicked or Dune. Because again, I can see that potential. I can see it getting nominated for director. Hell, like there might be a world where Ramel Ross wins director. And I can definitely see, actually no, I would definitely say Nickel Boys is winning Writers Guild. So it's like, it has more win potential than something like Wicked or Dune. And then the last one's a complete unknown. I think this is the one that I'm glad I called. Because ever since they announced that a complete unknown was coming out this year, I said, okay, well, it's going to get nominated. Because for a few reasons. One, why would Searchlight, despite the film filming earlier this year, why would they fast track this for a Christmas release date this year if they weren't confident that this would be an awards player? Because really, they didn't really have a big awards player. I mean, we thought, it still might be a Real Pain. A Real Pain might get into Best Picture, but a complete unknown seems more safe for Best Picture right now. Because it got nominated, I think, at like AFI and NBR, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice. Like, where is it going to, tell me where a complete unknown is going to falter. Like, where it's going to start falling. No, it's not. I don't think it's gonna fall. It doesn't have the best reviews, but if you're a music biopic and you have pretty good reviews, then you can still get into Best Picture. Just look at Elvis. Just look at Maestro. If you're a decent music biopic, then you can maybe win, or at least you have nomination worthy stuff, or actors in contention, then you could get, you're probably good in Best Picture. And plus, when it comes to James Mangold, whenever he does a more prestige type film, they do pretty well at the Oscars. Like Walk the Line would have made a Best Picture lineup if there were 10 nominees. Logan got nominated for Adapted Screenplay, becoming the first ever comic book superhero movie to do so. And hell, even Black Panther, a movie in Best Picture couldn't even do that a year later. It couldn't even do that. And then Ford v Ferrari came out, and that got into Best Picture. And so, as long as James Mangold isn't doing big, clearly blockbuster stuff like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, when he's honing in on a very prestigious film, the movie does pretty well at the Oscars. And I think A Complete Unknown is going to be doing pretty well. Hell, I think it might be doing especially well if you stick around for this video. But yeah, I do feel like A Complete Unknown is that solid Best Picture nomination. Now, what are you noticing here? This is the Critics' Choice 10. oh boy, I'm kind of scared because there are so many things that could disrupt this. All right? And again, I still recognize that Sing Sing could have a chance of falling off. This is just the scenario I see if Sing Sing is in Best Picture, which is where I am kind of seeing it. But like I said, Sing Sing getting the nomination is going to be harder than it winning Best Picture. Because once it's nominated for Best Picture, and plus, like, if it's nominated for Best Picture, like, Clarence Macklin's going to get in, all right? Let's be real here. Clarence Macklin's going to get... When you nominate Sing Sing in Best Picture, you're going to nominate Clarence Macklin for Supporting Actor, all right? So, if you're going to do, yeah. If Sing Sing is in Best Picture, getting the nomination is going to be harder than getting the win, all right? Now... What could be the spoilers? Well, there's one big freaking spoiler called September 5. And I'm scared. Because this film could rear its ugly head and maybe get in. All it really needs is original screenplay and editing and film editing. And it could just get Best Picture off of that. I'm a little bit scared because it made the Golden Globes 6 for drama, beating Sing Sing, and it didn't get nominated for a single other award. Like, what in the world? And there is a very good chance it makes the BAFTA 10 for Best Film. Hell, I might even think there's a chance it gets nominated for SAG Ensemble, and that scares me. But, if there's anything I have to say, it didn't make a single Oscar shortlist. I don't know if it was, eligible for score. I don't know. For those who have seen September 5, is there a score in the film? Because the fact that there was no score nomination, or no, shortlist mention, that might be something. That could mean something. I mean, the fact that Alien Romulus got in, and September 5 didn't. I mean, but, what? I am watching September 5 like a hawk. Tua, I'm sorry. Regardless. Another one could be A Real Pain. But the reason why I have A Real Pain out is because even the Critics' Choice Awards didn't nominate it. What is going on here? The Critics' Choice didn't nominate A Real Pain? That's fascinating. That is fascinating. Even the the critics were like A Real Pain's best friend. They were going out for dinner, playing some tennis, kissing each other. Regardless, the critics love A Real Pain. And so far, Kieran Culkin has been sweeping Best Supporting Actor with the critics circles. Alright? He has been sweeping. But the movie, again, the fact that it didn't get nominated for a Critics' Choice is very fascinating. It did not get a Critics' Choice nomination for Best Picture, which is weird. And let me look at... Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like, and the runner-up needs to maybe update. I don't know how they weigh the precursors, because A Real Pain is at number 10 and Sing Sing is at number 11, but Sing Sing has been nominated for and won, it won 3 critics groups, and A Real Pain's only won 1, and Sing Sing has been nominated way more times. So really, it's kind of like, the only thing kind of going for A Real Pain right now is that Kieran Culkin is the current sweeper for supporting actor, but if the movie's not in Best Picture, I think he's going to win supporting actor anymore. But that's besides the point. So, what do we do? And not only that, this might be what I'm predicting for PGA. And again, that is scary. I'm scared about this. This feels too safe. But the problem is, I don't know what else could get into PGA. Again, A Real Pain does make sense, but who would get bumped out? This is why I am kind of worried about Sing Sing. But again, it just makes more sense to me that Sing Sing gets nominated at the end. Well, because I'm looking at it, but like at the end of the day, what do I see? But again, I'm scared. Now, granted, if this is our PGA 10, well then this is absolutely our Best Picture 10. You know, like this would absolutely be our if this was the Critics' Choice 10 and PGA 10, it would absolutely be our 10 for Best Picture. There would not be any question. And weirdly enough, it would probably be even more clear than last year's Best Picture race. So again, I'm keeping an eye out for it. Now, the other international selections, or the other international films that could get it, that might get in, or at least stand a chance to get in, are All We Imagine Is Light and Seed of the Sacred Fig. Because surprisingly, All We Imagine Is Light got nominated at the Golden Globes for Best Director. Payal Kapadi, I think. She got nominated. I'm like, okay. That's fascinating, and I'm wondering if the BAFTAs do the same thing. So I do want to keep my eyes out for All We Imagine Is Light. Because that's a fascinating, a fascinating film that I wasn't really expecting. But we'll have to see. And then there's The Seed of the Sacred Fig. This might end up being the Rest in Peace. But then again, I don't know. We'll have to see how it does at BAFTA, but yeah, it's not looking great for it. And yeah, and let's just go over some of the films that I had in my previous video where I'm just like, yeah, it's not happening anymore. Goodbye. For example, what was it? Juror number 2. I was convinced that juror number 2 would get in. I was convinced that juror number 2 would actually make it in, because it's one of Clint Eastwood's best films, but they're not. Warner Brothers fumbled the release. What can I say about it? They fucked the release so badly. What in the world? I couldn't believe it. I was like, why? So, yeah, that's upsetting. And the fact that it didn't even get AFI. It didn't even get nominated at the AFI Awards. That tells you everything. Wild Robot, oh my god, it's performing even worse than Spider-Verse. Now, granted, it did get nominated for 6, how many awards did it get nominated for? The Golden Globes, Animated Feature, Score, Song, and Cinematic and Box Office Achievement. Wait, did it really only get 4 nominations? But still, the fact that it got Cinematic and Box Office Achievement, that's the joke award, so I don't really want to count that. But yeah, no one cares about this movie. And again, the fact that it didn't even get a screenplay nomination at Critics' Choice, Wild Robot's dead. All right, it's dead, buried, goodbye. Trying to look at what else I could be missing. But yeah, it hasn't been great for some of these films. So, rest in peace. Also, The Apprentice. I don't think it's going to get nominated for Best Picture, but, there might be some hope in other categories. But we'll have to see. All right, let's move on to Best Director. Right now, I'll have Brady Corbet. Apparently, his last name is pronounced Corbet, not Corbett, as I thought it was. He is, I think, winning the most director. Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is fascinating. Brady Corbet has 9 wins. Ramel Ross has 6 wins. And Sean Baker has 5 wins. So, that's interesting. And also, I can maybe see a world where Nickel Boys, Ramel Ross starts happening. But, however, I think right now I'll go for The Brutalist because it does seem like the biggest, directing achievement of the year. At least for, that could, realistically win. I am watching out for Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, though. Let's say he wins the Golden Globe for director. Watch out. I would say watch out because if that wins, then Emilia Perez might be heading towards frontrunner status. Because, oh my god. And again, I already said my piece about Nickel Boys. Honora, now, okay, now that I've seen the film, I don't think this is the kind of film that would win director. Original screenplay, sure, it could probably win that. Because, I could see there's a lot of talking in this movie. But in terms of directing, Honora just doesn't really seem, very ambitious or large in scale when it comes to directing. like when you compare like when you look at some of the directing winners, all right, they're usually like big, like not too big, like not big to where it's like Barbie or Dune or Avatar or The Way of Water, but like big enough to where it's like, oh, okay, you get like it's a large scale production, but small enough to where there's still like the very clear director's vision there, or the very least the vision that the director's branch of the Academy would like. And I feel like that would fit The Brutalist more. And even with Emilia Perez, it is a very ambitious kind of thing. It is a very ambitious production, a new kind of story. And same thing with The Nickel Boys. This is a very unique kind of structure of telling a story, which is, telling this story from a first-person perspective. But Anora doesn't really seem to be that. It's not really a large-scale, ambitious directing achievement, so I don't think she's going to win. The substance. Okay, let's talk about Coralie Farge's chances here, because she got nominated for the Golden Globe and the Critics' Choice Award. Now, Critics' Choice Award is I'm a little bit less concerned over. I'm not concerned, but I'm not as impressed considering there were 8 nominees, and it's like, okay, who was number 7 and number 8? Like, why did they have this? I don't understand it. They had, like, last year they locked it down to 6 nominees in every category except Best Picture. They were doing so well, and then this year they have 8 nominees in Director. I hate that so much. But the fact that she got into the Golden Globe 6, because, like, I could maybe see The Substance doing pretty well at the Critics' Choice Awards, but the fact that it did this well at the Golden Globes, I could see Coralie Farge getting nominated for the Oscar. Now, DGA is going to be interesting because I don't want to predict 5 out of 5 for DGA, and so I have to snub someone. So maybe Coralie Farge gets snubbed out of director for DGA, because I just don't know who else would get in. I just don't know who else. I don't want to go 5 out of 5 with DGA. Now, I think, and Coralie Farge absolutely deserves this nomination. Hell, she might even be my second choice for director under Denis Villeneuve, but still. I don't think Denis Villeneuve's happening. The fact that he got snubbed at the Globes says enough. Edward Berger for Conclave, there might be a chance he gets nominated everywhere except the Oscars. He did well. He got the Globe nomination, the Critics' Choice nomination. He'll probably get the BAFTA nomination, and DGA is not impossible, honestly. I think he might get. I do think he'll miss DGA. He's like, we'll talk about DGA nominations later in the month, or maybe even early next month. But Edward Berger, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's the kind of film that would get a director nomination. Like, Conclave would have to be really, really strong to actually make the Oscars 5 for director. So, I don't know. Greg Cuidar for Sing Sing. Again, I'm keeping him in there because this does seem like a film that the Oscars would like more in director than something like Dune Part 2 or Wicked. And not only that, I can maybe see DGA going for Greg Cuidar. This would be like unexpected. I don't think it would repeat at the Oscars, but like if Greg Cuidar got nominated for director at the DGA, then I would absolutely be saying like, yeah, I think Sing Sing can win Best Picture now, because now it is so strong that like Greg Cuidar can beat out Edward Berger and Denis Villeneuve. And John M. Chu. Because I don't think John M. Chu is going to get the director nomination, the DGA nomination. I don't think that's going to happen. Because like the fact that Wicked already kind of underperformed a little bit at the Golden Globes, like he didn't get a director nomination there. So it's like, Wicked seems to be that film that like rode very high when it was first released, and then it's starting to dip down. So yeah, I don't think he's happening at all. Denis Villeneuve already said why he's not getting nominated here. I am looking out for Payo Kapadia and Mohamed Rasulov for respectively All We Imagine Is Light and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Like one of those two. I am looking out for those two. Although if one of those got nominated for Best Director, then I think one of those films would have to be nominated for Best Picture at that point. But again, it is really tough. It is really tough. So I want to see how the BAFTAs go. I'm really fascinated to see where the BAFTAs go with these two. James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, he could get DGA too. I could maybe also see the Directors Guild going for James Mangold, because again, this film was kind of rising in Best Picture, and they do kind of like these kind of films, or the very least, like, the DGA will nominate directors that will not get nominated for the Oscar. So, like, James Mangold could be like a Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun Maverick. He could probably be like that kind of a nomination, but we'll have to see. Oh, and once again, I'm scared about Tim Fellbaum for September 5, because if let's say if Tim Fellbaum got a DGA nomination again, I don't think he would repeat at the Oscars, but I would have to predict September 5 for Best Picture at that point. I'd have to. It'd be over. So I am scared. I'm keeping an eye out for him, because there are so many ways September 5 could show up in places and potentially get a nomination or get nominations. The one thing I am kind of looking at is that it didn't get the Eddie nomination, which is like, okay, it didn't get that, so it's looking because like people are already nominating September 5 for editing, including the Critics' Choice Awards. But the fact that it didn't make the Eddie, I'm just like, maybe it is weak. Maybe it is weaker in the industry. Hopefully. Let's see. But yeah. Let's get to original screenplay, shall we? Anora's winning. Unfortunately, I have to concede on this. Like, I've finally seen... Also, I forgot to say, I've finally seen Anora. Dear God, don't let this win Best Picture. For the love of God, do not let this film win Best Picture. I would be so upset. This would be, like, the worst Best Picture winner I've seen in a very, very, very long time. And look, I wasn't even a fan of, like, Nomadland or Everything Everywhere All at Once winning. I didn't think those were very good movies, but you know what? Like, I was like, okay, I don't like these movies, but whatever. It's kind of whatever. Anora, like, actually, like, angered me. It made me so annoyed. Like, I didn't think Everything Everywhere All at Once was funny. I thought it was a poor comedy, but you know what? At least I could say, like, oh yeah, it has, I at least do care about these, or at very least, I will say, I don't hate these characters. Like, I could see where people will have, like, a very soft, you know, kind of feeling towards this film. Anora, I'm just like, how do people like these annoying-ass characters? Like, all of these characters in Anora are so annoying, and they're just screaming all the time, and they drove me nuts watching the film. I was like, shut up. So, yeah. Regardless, my feelings aside, Anora is unfortunately going to have to be our original screenplay winner. It's too much of a front runner right now. I don't think it's winning Best Picture, but again, it's not even because of my, like, thing or whatever, because, like, I knew Nomadland was winning Best Picture, like, and at the end of the day, I knew Everything Everywhere All at Once was winning Best Picture. And Nora is very weird. This is what, because, like, I can at least see it with the other films, you know what I mean? Like, I could see, like, yeah, Nomadland, it was like it was kind of warm in a way, and, you know, it's kind of like people's comfort film for the pandemic and stuff. I could see that. Everything Ever All at Once, it's crazy, but you know what? It has that family center that a lot of people can identify with, and it's like, all right, yeah, I could see that. I don't understand why anyone would go for this for Best Picture, for the win. I'm just like, why? I don't understand this at all. Still, it's going to win screenplay. Like, it's like, there's too much going on for the film. It is very well much liked, and also there is the overdue narrative for Sean Baker, so that's happening. If there was ever a number two, though, it would be The Substance, I think. I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's The Brutalist, or it's A Real Pain. No. I think it's The Substance. Why do I think it's The Substance? Because it has a very, very creative idea. Like, out of any film this year, The Substance has, like, the most creative, original idea that it just plants a seed in, and then that seed just festers and keeps becoming bigger and bigger and imploding in on itself in a good way. And that's kind of the story of The Substance. Like, The Substance just kind of has this idea and just keeps building on it until it just gets absolutely nuts. And yet at the same time is very, very poignant in its messaging. So I get, like, in a way, this could be like, and I'm not saying this just because it's like Get Out or something like that, but in a way, I could see it being something like Get Out, because Get Out was also a film where, like, someone could argue, yeah, it's not the most righty movie of the year in terms of dialogue, but it has that crazy original idea that just builds on top of itself and only gets more and more crazy and yet more and more poignant as the film goes on. So that's why I would watch out for The Substance, because it does have, like, again, what do I always say? Screenplay is not just about the dialogue, it's about the story and how the story is structured. And out of any film this year, The Substance, or at least any true contender this year, The Substance does have the most creative original story that it builds off of. So I would definitely watch out for The Substance. I mean, granted, okay, I still think Anora is winning easily, but if there is a number 2, if there is a challenger, it's going to be The Substance. Watch out for that. Watch out. The Brutalist, safely in there because it's in Best Picture. A Real Pain, regardless if it's in Best Picture or not, I feel like the category's kind of weak anyway, so it could just stumble in there. And then there's that 5th slot. And honestly, it could be a number of films. It could be September 5. I mean, it got nominated at Critics' Choice, and it got nominated for Best Picture Drama at the Golden Globes, so naturally that seems like a good progression. But at the same time, you know, at the Critics' Choice Awards, there were 6 nominees, and whereas here there's only 5, and they kind of really do want to play favorites here. They really do, like, the Oscars do want to try to put their priorities straight as to what's more likely to, or no, like, they want to keep their priorities straight when it comes to films that they're really passionate about. And so, I don't know, because if September 5 got original screenplay, I fear that it would actually get a Best Picture nomination. And then when you have challengers, it got nominated at the Critics' Choice Awards, I think, and it will definitely get the Writers Guild Awards. But, however, I don't really see that, or at least I don't see an Oscar nomination happening for the film, because it does, like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like an Oscars thing to do. And then you have the Seed of the Sacred Fig, which also might happen, but I really want to see what happens at BAFTA. And this is where we get to All We Imagine Is Light. Why am I predicting this for the 5th slot in Best Picture? Because I'm kind of wondering, what if it's like The Worst Person in the World? Because when you start limiting other, because, like, how do I describe it? It felt like with what was that, with Worst Person in the World, it kind of felt like when snubbing Being the Ricardos, that was kind of like the Oscars going, all right, we want to make sure people know that we're not nominating Being the Ricardos for Best Picture. Like, because if they did nominate it for original screenplay, that would have meant, okay, well, it's strong enough to be nominated for Best Picture. But yet they didn't do that. They went for a film that was a little bit more acclaimed. And the fact that Payo Kapadia did get that director nomination at the Golden Globes, it makes me wonder if the Oscars would want to nominate her in some way. Because I don't think it's going to be strong enough to get a Best Picture nomination in the film, but I think they could just put it into original screenplay as a way of honoring the film a little bit more. Because it is an open category. It is a pretty weak category. And if they want to show where their priorities are, maybe they would snub September 5 and put in the more tasteful pick, All I Imagine Is Light, or Seed the Sacred Fig, whichever one of those two would be. But right now, I would feel like it would be All We Imagine Is Light, because Payo Kapadia is showing a little bit more strength right now than Mohamed Rusulov. All right? And then some other, like, you know, long shots. Hard Truths might get BAFTA nominated, maybe. But again, I don't know if that's strong enough to get to get nominated at the Oscars. The Apprentice, normally I would be like, I don't know. But, like, okay, and granted, I do have it at number 10, so it's not like I actually have it in right now. But it is showing some strength in precursors. It's showing some strength. You know, like, both Jeremy Strong and Sebastian Stan got nominated at the Golden Globes, and not only that, The Apprentice did get a makeup shortlist nomination. No, not nomination, a shortlist mention for makeup. Now again, but people are going to go, but that's makeup. But the thing is, again, sort of like with Sing Sing, you can sort of see where a film is performing pretty well if you look at the shortlists, or not even just the shortlists, but like kind of looking around the place, like, oh, where is it getting nominated? And again, the fact that they got makeup shows that they are kind of paying attention to it, and it's not like it's completely out of nowhere, because again, or I should say, the fact that it got this and the Golden Globe mentions shows that there is a chance. All right, there is a chance. Saturday Night, I don't think it got a single Critics' Choice nomination other than Ensemble Cast. Yeah, Ensemble Cast was its only nomination at the Critics' Choice Awards. So, like, the fact that it couldn't even get in there, I'm just like, yeah, it's not really looking good for Saturday Night. And I don't know. I think the only other, maybe, like, juror number 2, that it's not happening. No one's seen it, but I'm just kind of putting it in there because there's not really a lot of original screenplays that I think would actually happen. At least not to my knowledge. But yeah. Adapted screenplay, it's a little bit easier to figure out, at least in terms of the nominations. Now, you probably won't Sing Sing at number 1, but look, you have to admit, if I'm putting Sing Sing at number 1 in Best Picture, I kind of have to put it in number 1 for adapted screenplay here. Alright? Alright. But let's talk about some of these other films. Nickel Boys, I do think it's winning Writers Guild. I do think it's going to win the Writers Guild Award. Because the only other film there's going to be a few films the only film in this lineup, there are only 2 films in this lineup that I feel like would get into, that are going to get into the Writers Guild Awards. That is Nickel Boys and Dune. Because Sing Sing, Conclave, and Amelia Perez are not eligible. And because Dune is underperforming a lot more, and, oh god, okay, there's a stink bug. Okay, back to what I was saying. These 2, I think, would be the only films in this lineup that are going to get into the Writers Guild Awards. And I feel like Nickel Boys, because of its more unique, narrative and the way it's describing the whole first-person perspective thing, I feel like that's where it would win. And so, like, if it wanted to pose a threat for for adapted screenplay, it could. Conclave, I feel like, is the more traditional pick, but I don't know. I just feel like the Best Picture prospects of Sing Sing and the unique narrative that Nickel Boys has would trump something like Conclave. And also, let's face it, like with Nickel Boys, it's sort of like The Substance. It takes this idea and kind of builds off of that. Or at least I'm assuming. I haven't seen Nickel Boys. But because of its more unique structure, because again, that's going to have to be written into the screenplay, I feel like the more unique aspect of that would probably be more likely for it to win adapted screenplay. Amelia Perez, it's going to be in because it's going to be like, probably, again, it's going to be like the nomination record holder this year. And Dune Part 2, unless something insane happens, it's probably still going to get an adapted screenplay nomination. I don't buy Wicked. I still don't buy Wicked. Again, like I was saying earlier, Wicked is still a Broadway musical adaptation. And from what I've seen, it's still very much kind of straightforward what the original show was doing, except this time, it's expanding on it a little bit more. But I just don't know if that's enough. I feel like it would still, it's probably a little bit stronger than something like West Side Story, but I don't think it's like strong enough of a difference to be something like Chicago. So I don't buy that. Even though it is going to be eligible for the Writers Guild Awards and it's going to get nominated, I just don't buy it right now. And then A Complete Unknown, I feel like would also get Writers Guild. It's like, again, because it is in Best Picture and it's a very safe pick to go with. So yeah. Then you have some of the outside shots. I'm Still Here, Hitman, Queer. Hitman, I think, actually, wait. Do I have, Nickel Boys, Dune, Wicked, Unknown, Hitman. Yeah. Hitman, I think we get Writers Guild. But come on, I genuinely don't think this is going to happen for Best Picture. There's too many not Best Picture. I genuinely do not believe Hitman's getting nominated for Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars. There are just too many Best Picture nominated films above it, and it's just kind of a comedy. And it's like, I like, just like a rom-com or something like that. Like, I don't know. I don't see that. And again, I'm Still Here. It has that international support, but I don't know if that's strong enough. And queer, I don't know. Then we get to lead actress. And boy, howdy, has this race shaken up. Goodbye, Amy Adams. I tried. I desperately tried. But you're not happening. Sorry. But a new challenger has risen. Riz. I hate myself. Because I've always said, I find it very hard to believe that Mikey Madison would win lead actress when she's still a relative unknown. And yes, I know she was in Scream and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but again, I just, no. I don't think, like, those are two, like, I don't think she's established herself quite yet. But now, the fact that The Substance is now solidly in Best Picture, that got me thinking. Demi Moore could win. Because the one thing I was kind of looking at is, like, if The Substance is in Best Picture, then maybe Demi Moore could have that kind of narrative. Because, like, she, again, the thing with Amy Adams I was kind of going for was that, Amy Adams had the overdue narrative. Apparently the performance was very showy, but I guess people just really did not like this movie, which I thought they did. Or at least people aren't really responding to it as well as I thought. But now you have Demi Moore, and now that the film is in, but regardless, Demi Moore's performance has also been called very showy. And yeah, I would say it's a very showy performance as well. I mean, look at this scene alone. Like, this scene, that's like the Oscar clip. That's the Oscar clip right there. And again, you could do a few other things. Like, for one, this would easily have the acting makeup pairing that you would need to win an acting no, not really need, but it's like it has the makeup acting combo that you would want. All right, yeah, something like, even Emma Stone kind of had that with Poor Things, and some people will try and go, well, the movie didn't win because of Emma Stone, the movie won because of Willem Dafoe. But it's also like, well, but people also loved Poor Things a lot more than something like Maestro. And when it comes to The Substance, it doesn't really have like the backlash that Maestro had. And again, it just kind of makes a lot of sense to me. It does kind of make a lot of sense to me. Again, you have big, like, what was it, like, big, very well-known Hollywood legend actress who has that kind of overdue narrative, and you have that makeup combo, and the movie's in Best Picture. Boom. I feel like that makes sense for a Demi Moore win. And she could definitely win SAG. I think there's a world where she definitely wins SAG. I am kind of looking out for the Golden Globes. Especially if Demi Moore beats Mikey Madison at the Globes. Oh, she's absolutely taking the Oscar. But it is going to be interesting to see how far Mikey Madison goes. I just realized you can see the stink bug right there. I'm just going to let it be there. It's not going to hurt anyone. Regardless, yeah. Angelina Jolie for Maria. Yeah, I could maybe see that. Or the thing is, like having seen Maria, she's very good in it. She's going to get nominated. Now, granted, I don't think she's going to get nominated for SAG. Like, this is absolutely not a SAG-friendly performance. But she did get the Globe nomination. She might even win the Globe. And she got the Critics' Choice nomination. So at that point, it kind of makes it hard to doubt her at that point. So, yeah. I think she'll be in. Even if she only has Golden Globe and Critics' Choice, I feel like she would still get in for the Oscars. Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truth. She took a bad hit with the Golden Globes snub, but she has been getting nominated oh my god. Like, she's been getting nominated so much. Like, again, it's kind of weird that she's number 6 outside of Angelina Jolie on And the Runner-Up Is. But she has way more nominations than Cynthia Erivo, Carla Sofia Gascon, and Angelina Jolie. I feel like Marianne Jean-Baptiste is so in there right now. And even in terms of wins, I'm looking at Next Best Picture, she has 10 wins. 10 wins! My god! I feel like she's just in right now. I feel like she is just in. And then, and plus she's going to get the BAFTA nomination. She's going to get the Critics' Choice and BAFTA. Like, that's an interesting combo to have, but I still think that's possible. Now, why do I have Kate Winslet for Lee? Because, boy, oh howdy, is she campaigning. She's getting, like, some of the biggest names in Hollywood to campaign for her. And this kind of reminds me of Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, except this time it might be even stronger because she's Kate Winslet. I mean, hell, The Rock did a Q&A for her. All right, like, and he's like one of the biggest movie stars on the planet. Like, the fact that even he's going out to support her, it's like, watch out for Kate Winslet. She may very well show up on Oscar nomination morning. And plus, she has a Globes nomination, so she's already doing better than Andrea Riseborough. I'm very curious to see what happens at SAG or BAFTA. So we'll have to see. Other shots, I should say. Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Again, Globes nomination. That's pretty big. She could get the BAFTA nomination. That's also possible. I'm looking out for that. Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. Again, it's looking like, oh yeah, I just realized she didn't get the Critics' Choice nomination. She got the Globes nomination, but not Critics' Choice. That's fascinating to me. That's fascinating. But I don't know. Again, she could still get in, but we'll have to see. And Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. My God. I'm kind of worried. I mean, like, I'm looking here, it's like, she's not getting nominated for a lot of things, Carla Sofia Gascon. She's not getting nominated a lot. Like, I'm looking over at, I'm kind of looking over, and it's like, I don't know. She's not doing well, even when Zoe Saldana is doing very well. Now, again, one could also argue, well, I mean, Emilia Perez isn't doing very well with critics at all. That is true. But I don't know. I still worry that the climate post-election is not going to be kind to Carla Sofia Gascon, even though I think she deserves the win. She'd be my pick to win. But I'm worried that there would be a bias. I'm worried that there would be a bias there. That's what I'm kind of worried about. Especially when you're going up against, like, again, a few Hollywood legends like Demi Moore, Angelina Jolie, and Kate Winslet, and there's already a couple of other big names, no, not big names, but like a couple of other names that are trying to get in, like Mikey Madison for Honora, who is a little bit of a newcomer, but not as much of a newcomer as Carla Sofia Gascon, and Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who's been in a lot of other films and is getting her most recognition here. I'm just worried for Carla Sofia Gascon. I'm worried about her prospects. Again, I want her to win. But I'm worried the Oscars would be too biased against her. Either that or there's just too much competition and they want to make room for more well-known people. We'll have to see. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. I know she's been getting nominated in a lot of places. I know Cynthia Erivo's gotten a lot of nominations. But, however, I still contend she is Margot Robbie from Barbie. I can already see it, even if she gets I'm not going to fall for it again, because Wicked is exactly the kind of film that the Oscars would, like, turn against. This kind of big budget spectacle kind of movie. I just feel like Cynthia Erivo could end up being weak here. And so, yeah. Other outside shots, Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door. She got the Globe nomination, and so did Amy Adams, but I don't think that's happening. Regina King for Shirley. I'm watching out if she gets a SAG nomination. If she gets a SAG nomination, that's going to be like, that's fascinating. I don't think she would get the Oscar, especially considering, lone SAG is not great. But, And then Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. Again, she is campaigning and she's getting some nominations. I don't think she would ultimately get into the Oscars, though. I don't think she would ultimately happen. But I am looking out to see. Okay, I'm taking you outside. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for lead actress right now. So we'll see. Lead actor, I'm putting him back in at number 1, baby. I'm putting him back at number 1. Because my God, like the fact that the fact that A Complete Unknown is really having this kind of resurgence, I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of wondering. And now I'm starting to think, and because the reviews came out for A Complete Unknown, and people were saying, oh, well, Timothée Chalamet's better than I thought he would be. I'm like, I should never have taken him out at number 1. Because if the critics, even if they're mostly giving the wins to Coleman Domingo or Adrian Brody, the fact of the matter is, the critics are still saying that Timothée Chalamet is better than they thought. And what do the Oscars like to do? Or what does the film industry like to do? They like to vote for the big biopics for lead actor. Or at least they like giving wins for lead actor to people playing biopic characters. And I'm just showing me like, that's absolutely that's absolutely Timothée Chalamet. All right, that's absolutely Timothée Chalamet. And so, yep, I'm putting him back at number 1. I feel I should have kept him in, but still, I didn't. I called it early, so I'm still counting that as a win. I mean, we'll have to see how the race turns out, but I feel like it's going to be Timmy's year. I feel like it's Timmy's year. And again, oh, wait, hold on. Okay, now that I fixed it, yeah, I do think Coleman Domingo could be number 2 for Sing Sing. Now, you're probably wondering, why? Well, that's because Coleman Domingo is actually number 2 for wins, funny enough. Like, Adrian Brody has won 12 bodies so far, but Coleman Domingo has 8. He's kind of catching up to Adrian Brody. And I'm kind of thinking, if the critics are this tied up, or at least are this close to each other, then what are the chances that Coleman Domingo, let's say, wins SAG? Again, I'm not sure he would win the Oscar, but I'm just kind of wondering, if the critics are starting, are kind of, or like this kind of close with Domingo and Brody, then I'm just kind of like, there might be a chance that Coleman Domingo is somewhat stronger than Adrian Brody once we get to the industry awards. That's fascinating. Ralph Fiennes, again, easy, and honestly, Daniel Craig and Queer. In fact, when you actually look at the nominations, it's looking very, very apparent what is our top 5 for lead actor. Because it really is this 5. They've been showing up everywhere. Like the Golden Globes went for this 5. And even the Critics' Choice Awards went for this 5. I would be kind of shocked if anything else got in at SAG over Daniel Craig. Because, Daniel Craig I would say is number 5. But, damn, the fact that he's performing this well, wow. I don't think it's going to be Hugh Grant and Hertic. And I have him at number 10. And people are like, what? Why do you have him at number 10? Look, he's still in a horror movie, and it's so not in Best Picture, and I don't think the Oscars are going to be cool enough to nominate 2 movies that are horror films for acting Oscars, or at the very least when one of them is most certainly not in Best Picture. So I don't really think that's happening. I think it's probably just a critics thing that they're kind of going for, but I don't think it's really happening. So, if there is a number 6, I would watch out for Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, because he did get the Globes nomination, and so did Jeremy Strong, and The Apprentice did get a makeup nomination. No, not a makeup nomination. It got in the shortlist for makeup at the Oscars. I'm just like, ooh, that's interesting. They're watching The Apprentice. So, I think it actually, he would have to take out Ralph Fiennes, but if he did, if Sebastian Stan did, I'll be like, okay, that would be interesting. So I really think I don't think anyone else could possibly get in. I can maybe see a world where Sebastian Stan gets into the top 5. But this top 6, I think, is locked. Like, if this top 5 isn't already locked, the top 6 is absolutely locked. I don't think anyone else is going to get in. But let's look at the outside. Let's look outside the bubble for a bit, all right? Kingsley Ben-Adir for Bob Marley, One Love. Well, he didn't get the Globes nomination or Critics' Choice. SAG? Maybe? Maybe BAFTA? I mean, because, you know, he is British and there are 6 slots. But even then, I wouldn't say Kingsley Ben-Adir is getting the Oscar nomination. I don't think so. Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, he might win the Comedy Golden Globe. I think that's happening. But again, if A Real Pain's not in Best Picture, I especially would not think he's getting in for the Oscar. John David Washington for The Piano Lesson, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Maybe SAG, maybe, but The Piano Lesson is kind of doing way worse with critics than I thought it would, so, yeah. Then we get to Supporting Actress, alright? This is interesting, because right now, Ariana Grande is winning the most critic awards right now. She's winning the most critic awards. Let me look at Next Best Picture. Ariana, okay, it's a little bit closer than I thought. Ariana Grande has 7 wins, and Zoe Saldana has 6. Actually, they're kind of spreading the love a bit, because Margaret Qualley has 5, and Danielle Deadwyler has 4. Alright, so they're spreading the love a bit, but I don't know. Ariana Grande just feels like someone who's like, again, she's riding high off of Wicked, but again, I feel like it's starting to taper off a bit. It's starting to taper off. Hell, did the Critics' Choice Awards even nominate Wicked for editing? No, they didn't. They did not nominate Wicked for editing, so they still didn't go that nuts for it. So, I do feel like Wicked is this film that rode very high when it was first released, and then it's just like it's starting to lose steam. And by the time we get to the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, I feel like she's just like she's gonna fall along with the film a bit. Again, I still think she's gonna get nominated, but she's not gonna win. Whereas Emilia Perez, Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez, I feel like she would win. Especially if Emilia Perez is going to be as big of a Best Picture contender as we're thinking. Well then, yeah, I do think Zoe Saldana would win this. And the big shock of the season so far is Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. Wow, she got Golden Globe and Critics' Choice nominations? That's kind of big. Especially since, I just realized, did Selena Gomez get snubbed out of... Oh, yeah. Yeah. What's her name? Selena Gomez got snubbed out of Best Supporting Actress at the Critics' Choice Awards. And again, the reason why I think that's kind of big is that, Isabella Rossellini got in, Danielle Deadwyler for the Piano Lesson got in, despite her getting snubbed out of the Golden Globes. And it's like, because you look at some of these people, it's like, okay, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor did not get the Globes nomination, so she's a little bit weaker with international voters, but she still got in at the Critics' Choice Awards, which is a little bit more representative of American voters. Isabella Rossellini, and also she even got in at the Critics' Choice. Isabella Rossellini. Wait, hold on. The fact that Isabella Rossellini was able to get in at the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice over some people, even like Felicity Jones. Felicity Jones missed Critics' Choice, and it's like, wow, she missed Critics' Choice? Wait, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, that's fascinating to me. That's very fascinating. Again, it just does feel like Isabella Rossellini, if Conclave's in, she's in too. She does not have a lot of screen time, but it seems like she is one of the big standouts of the film. So, if she can get into both of those, well then she's absolutely getting BAFTA, and it's like, alright, even if you were to say that she doesn't get SAG, it's kind of too late now. It's kind of too late. She got into Golden Globe and Critics' Choice, which, again, obviously it's not the be-all or end-all, but Like, Conclave is not a film that's going to taper off in Best Picture. It's just it's going to remain steadily in its place. So I would say she's number 3. Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor. She has gotten the Critics' Choice nomination, and I do think she's going to get SAG. I think she's going to get SAG nominated. Either that, or we're kind of assuming she goes in off of a lone Critics' Choice nomination, which isn't the worst idea. I mean, there are definitely performances lately that do get into the Oscars with a lone Critics' Choice nomination. Honestly, lone Critics' Choice is better than having lone SAG nowadays, because that shows, like, at the very least, it's like, even if you don't get SAG, well, it's like, okay, well, they're still paying attention to you, like, somewhat. I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know what I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what the reasoning is, but you know, look at last year. America Ferrera got in to the Oscars with only Critics' Choice. What's his name? Judd Hirsch got into the Oscars with only Critics' Choice. The previous year, we had, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos. All right. So it's like, I'm kind of thinking, like, even if Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor gets only Critics' Choice, which maybe that's the case, maybe, we'll have to see, I think I would still put her in. But again, it kind of depends on, like, you know, what else happens with the other categories, but yeah. And then Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. It's weird that she didn't get the Critics' Choice nomination, and she might not even get the SAG nomination, probably. But, however, she has the Golden Globe nomination, I think. Yeah, she got the Golden Globes nomination. So yeah, even if she were to only get Globe and BAFTA, I feel like that's strong enough for her. Obviously, she's not winning, but I feel like that's good enough. And then what do we have outside of the top 5? Well, Margaret Qualley's also doing very well with The Substance. She has both Globe and Critics' Choice, and I don't know, she might get SAG. But I guess right now, it's just kind of hard for me to say, because it's like, this category is so stacked with potential contenders that who knows who gets snubbed. But again, I don't know who to snub right now. Because again, I don't know, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor I feel like is essential if you're going to nominate Nickel Boys for Best Picture. I feel like she has to come along with it. But then you have Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, and it's like, maybe you could snub her, maybe. But at the same time, The Brutalist is going to be such a huge contender overall, and I currently think Brady Corbet is winning Best Director. So it's like, do I really want to say Felicity Jones is going to miss that nomination? I don't know if I want to say that. And again, Isabella Rossellini is unexpectedly getting in at Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. Because that's a performance, like, that, I'm shocked got into Critics' Choice. Like, with Margaret Qualley, I could maybe see that. All right, sure. Isabella Rossellini was legitimately a big surprise. So I don't want to say that she's getting snubbed, at least in favor of Margaret Qualley right now. I don't want to say that. But still, Margaret Qualley does have Globe and Critics' Choice, so it's not impossible. She could happen. I just don't know who to take out right now. Selena Gomez for Emilia Perez. She has the Globes nomination. I'm wondering if she could get BAFTA or Critics' Choice, because the movie does play well to international voters. But then again, at the same time, I don't know if Emilia Perez is even going to get a SAG Ensemble nomination. That's what I'm kind of wondering. I'm kind of wondering what happens with that film. And so I have taken Selena Gomez out of my predictions for supporting actress, but again, we'll have to see. Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson. Again, I don't feel like the fact that she got snubbed out of the Globes. I'm like, oh, okay, she's done. She's done. And unlike someone like, let's say, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, where it's like, maybe there's a chance Danielle Deadwyler could also get lone Critics' Choice nominated. But the problem is, at least with Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, it's looking very likely that Nickel Boys is getting into Best Picture, and she feels like a more essential element for that film. Whereas Danielle Deadwyler, like, she's literally like the only nomination The Piano Lesson's going to get. So that's not really, you know, a good position to be in. So I do feel like she gets snubbed. I am really watching out for Elle Fanning and Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, because I'm just like, ooh, what's going to happen here? what's happening? Okay, yeah, like what is going on here? Because one of those two might, but then again, I guess it is very tough because neither of them got Critics' Choice or Golden Globes. One or two, like one of them could get SAG, but again, lone SAG is not really good enough for me to predict a nomination for. So I'm not really willing to do that, and I don't think either of them are going to get the BAFTA nomination. So it's kind of like, So we're kind of looking at SAG or bust. So yeah, I think they might not happen, if I'm going to be honest. And I don't know who else could get in. Let me look at the award expert. Saoirse Ronan for Blitz, goodbye. I also forgot to mention her for The Outrun. Goodbye. She's not happening. The fact that she didn't even get the Globes nomination for The Outrun, it's like, oh, she's finished. She's absolutely finished. Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters for supporting actress, also goodbye. Her, like, the things she needed to get a Best Picture, a Best Supporting Actress nomination was gonna have to be Critics' Choice. She needed Critics' Choice to happen, and that did not happen. Again, even if she were to get, like, a lone SAG nomination, I think she's out. She's outie. Bye. Like, not happening. So, yeah. And I'm kind of looking around. No one really else is standing out to me. So, yeah, I think they're just kind of done. Like, I think we're done with this category. And now, finally, we get to supporting actor. All right, Clarence Macklin. Again, if I have Sing Sing winning Best Picture, he has to come along with it. Now, granted, he did not get nominated at the Golden Globes, which is weird. But again, the Golden Globes were weird. They were kind of back to what we thought the Golden Globes would be. They're back to what the Golden Globes used to be. Like, the Golden Globes used to be weird. We thought they changed last year, but I guess they haven't. So, yeah. But still, Clarence Macklin is, like, again, he just kind of makes sense. And granted, he's currently number 3 for the supporting actor race. But again, like, when you see the movie, I feel like people are going to not, like, and again, the thing is, I guess one of the reasons for this is that, like, I don't really want, if I have a real pain outside of Best Picture, I can't predict Kieran Culkin to win. I just cannot. I'm not saying it's impossible, but especially in recent years, you don't really win, like, an acting Oscar unless you're in Best Picture, unless you're like, what's her name, Jessica Chastain, and you're not competing with any Best Picture contenders. So that's a problem for him. And it could, maybe Guy Pearce, but again, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I kind of go back to Clarence Macklin, because it's like, when you see Sing Sing, you see that he makes the film. Like, his performance is what drives, like, the emotions. And so, and again, if I'm predicting Sing Sing to win Best Picture, he kind of has to come along for that ride. And I don't think it's impossible. Like, granted, this is a very competitive category. And who knows what will happen, if I'm going to be completely honest. But, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, maybe. Well, but I don't know. The Brutalist would have to be very much stronger, but again, the problem is The Brutalist is kind of shaky. It's not really showing up in a lot of guilds. It didn't get a sound nomination, a sound shortlist mention. And even Felicity Jones is kind of shaky. I'm wondering what's happening with him. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, he's kind of showing up where he needs to right now. He's got the Golden Globe and Critics' Choice, and the fact that A Complete Unknown is pretty much, it's looking like it's going to get Best Picture. It's like, yeah, Edward Norton just might come along for the ride. And then you have Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2, which I could snub him. But the problem is he's Denzel Washington, and he always gets in. Like, he just kind of always gets in. If it's like some sort of prestige adjacent film, like, obviously, yes, the Equalizer, but that didn't happen, but of course, like that's like some action thriller thing. This is a sequel to a Best Picture winner with Gladiator 2, and it's looking like it's going to get a few tech nominations. So I don't really want to doubt him. Like, if Denzel Washington can get in for Roman J. Israel Esquire, he can get in for Gladiator 2. This is like nothing compared to. And keep in mind, the lead actor race that year was very competitive. So right now, I still want to keep him in, which would mean I'm snubbing out Yuri Borisov, even though he's been performing pretty well, which is weird because Mark Edelstein has been performing way worse than I thought he would. He's been You want to know how many supporting actor nominations he has? Like, I'll give you a few seconds to guess. All right? None. Zero. I'm looking at the site right now. He hasn't been nominated for shit. Like, even Chris Hemsworth for Furiosa has a couple of nominations. Nicolas Cage from Longlegs has a nomination. And yet, Mark Edelstein has nothing. Nothing. So, with that in mind, you know, like, oh my God, he's so not getting nominated. Granted, anything could happen, I suppose. But it's like, damn, like, he's been performing way worse. But we do have Yuri Borisov. He got the Globes nomination and the Critics' Choice nomination, but I'm really wondering how strong he is if he's gotten, like, when he's in lineups of 6 and like, the bigger awards. So we'll have to see. But, yeah, it's kind of tough, because I guess Clarence Macklin, in a way, is sort of like, you know, Sing Sing in Best Picture, where it's like, getting the nomination is going to be harder for him than actually winning. Because if he gets nominated, then he would absolutely win at that point. Because kind of going back to the whole shortlist thing, it's like the Academy's already showing that they like Sing Sing a bit. So we'll have to see. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. He's gotten the Golden Globe nomination. That's good for him. And he also has the... Actually, no, he doesn't have... Wait, we don't know what he has yet. But he might get SAG. I'm wondering if Jeremy Strong could maybe get a SAG nomination. I still don't think I would predict him for the nomination for lead actor. No, not lead actor, for supporting actor. I don't know if I would do that, but, you know, that is something to look at. I'm kind of wondering if Jeremy Strong could get in at SAG. So yeah. Although if he were to get in for SAG, I feel like that would be definitely good for Sebastian Stan. Because, like, if they really wanted to, maybe they would go for him over Daniel Craig. Stanley Tucci for Conclave, he's kind of not been nominated for a lot of things. Like, Stanley Tucci, yeah, he's only gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... See, he's only gotten 6 nominations, which is not good for him. And he's not won a single award. Again, not great for him. Not great. Who else? Paul Raci for Sing Sing. I have as like a very much like outside shot in case like Sing Sing does very, very well, but I'm not expecting that to happen. Not to the extent where Paul Raci gets in. Brian Tyree Henry for The Fire Inside. I am looking up for a SAG nomination. I'm looking up for SAG, but I still wouldn't do it if he got in. And again, I already explained Mark Edelstein. He's absolutely not happening whatsoever. And guys, those are my above the line Oscar predictions for December. Again, right after Christmas, probably maybe the 26th. Maybe the 26th? Yeah, actually, yeah, the 26th. Yeah. On the 26th, I will be posting my below the line Oscar predictions because it's going to be a busy January. And oh boy, I can't wait to tell you who I'm going to be collabing with because that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I want to pass the question off to you. What are your above the line December Oscar predictions? All right. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And be sure you hit that subscribe button because if you don't, you're going to end up like Mark Edelstein with no nominations.